You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast, exposing the struggles and celebrating the successes in the life of coaches who are action takers and creating authentic impact in today's world. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your reach, or exploding your impact, you're in the right place right now. Stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Now, here are your hosts of the Coach's Journey podcast.
So let's dive into the topic that we're talking about today around how much do I give of the good stuff, the secrets, the solutions, the really powerful questions. How much of that as a coach should you give in social media, in strategy sessions, or in coaching sessions? How much of that do you give in doses? And because there have been times, certainly, where I've given a lot of information and really helped people, but it's been on the front end of having a commitment from them. And it can be a recipe for frustration, for resentment, even over time, and for burnout. So where do you want to take this, Faisal? I'll give you the freedom.
We can start with, where does your, like if you're a coach who is building a part-time or full-time business, depending on how you're doing it. So it all depends on your context, but let's say you're trying to promote yourself on LinkedIn or social media or wherever. And maybe you don't want a lot of followers and you're not necessarily focused more on the influencer thing, but you're focused on, okay, how do I get clients, let's say from LinkedIn, or let's say within Facebook or wherever. And that's part of your strategy. And the normal thing is, well, how much do I put out there? How much work do I need to do? And this was my frustration as I was beginning. I was putting out actually a lot of content. I was doing, initially when I started on Facebook, I was doing 4 posts a day. I actually do less now, but here was my mindset. It didn't click in for a long, long time. My mindset was, okay, I'm going to put out these 4 posts a day. And then people are going to, and that's the ideal, people are going to engage with the posts. And then at some point, they're going to reach out to me. And then we're going to book the conversation, discovery call, and then we're going to move forward. The challenge was that there were a lot of subtleties in there that I didn't understand from a marketing standpoint. First of all, initially, when you're starting out, like it'll be crickets. There won't be a lot of people who will engage with your post. Even to this day, not a lot of people engage with my post, but for some reason, I'm able to move it forward, and we'll talk about the details around that. Over time, I've learned is that most people won't engage with your posts, especially if you're talking about like values, like beliefs and stuff. People don't want to, a lot of people won't comment or like because now they're associating with something you're saying, and now they have to put themselves on the line. Mm-hmm. So I found out later on that there are a lot of people that are following me, but they're not actually liking and commenting on my posts. Few people actually do it. On top of that, then you're thinking about the Facebook, for example, algorithms are weird. They're showing it less and less to people. So then what is the thinking behind your marketing strategy? I would say think about that very clearly, because unless you are like a 7-figure coach or you're like at close to $1 million or something, you don't need to do a lot to gather clients. And I want to talk about from 2 different perspectives. One of the important things, if you're promoting yourself on social media, you need to be visible to some degree, just for credit. People are going to do, as soon as they hear about you, they're going to Google you or they're going to try to find you on LinkedIn. And if they go to your profile and there's only cat videos, then, I mean, nothing wrong with cat videos, but if that's the only thing they find all over the internet, often they're like, okay, is this like a side thing that they're not sincere or serious about that they're doing? Yeah. And this is after you've actually built a relationship with the person. So I would say that's important, and it's becoming more and more important. Like about 10 years ago, for example, my brother, he has a few businesses in Virginia. When he was thinking about social media 10 years ago, was like, I want to get into it. And he was asking me, he's like, can you do part of it for me? I'm like, I'm barely doing my own stuff. I don't know how to figure out your stuff. And then he ended up hiring a marketing agency. It's a good thing to have because he was anticipating what's getting bigger, but now it's non-negotiable. Like he has to have a marketing agency, even though it's brick and mortar, because social media drives everything now. Yeah. Online drives everything. So even for brick and mortar businesses, this is a big deal. Not to mention somebody who's building most of their business. Most coaches are building it online. And there are ones who will do it in person, but let's say the ones who are building it online, you need to have some kind of presence just for credibility's sake at the minimum. So that means that if somebody's, go Google, if you do anything, go Google your name. you'll find out very interesting things about yourself. First of all, if you don't find yourself at all, that's a problem. But if you Google your name, like I found myself on different websites, people are taking my videos and putting them on all these things. And it's like, I don't even know that a website, but it's fine. They're probably making some money out of it, but they're promoting my stuff. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be the first, is like, just put yourself out there just for the sake of visibility. And then the next step would be the content for the sake of getting clients, like the proactive approach of what do you need to give away to get clients. And I'll talk about that, but I want to hear Sherry's thoughts on this because she's been online too for a while.
Yeah, so it was interesting because the first business I built in about 13 years ago, it was a psychological practice. And I live in Wyoming, the smallest or least populated state in the United States. And the benefit, one of the benefits of living here is because we're kind of behind the times on a lot of things. And so I can do what's typical in the US, and in Wyoming, it's like, oh, wow, that's new. And it's not really new. But so I launched a website and I did a whole bunch of social media stuff. And, again, it was more than what my, other folks in town were doing around being a mental health provider and having a business around. But you might be listening to this thinking like, yeah, I only have cat videos on and like, oh my gosh, that really feels daunting. Like, how am I ever going to change that? I just want to give you some practical advice, something that you can probably do in, let's say, maybe just take 2 hours out of your day and do two things. One is look at your profile, like Facebook or wherever you really want. I would say Facebook is probably one of the important aspects, one of the important platforms, because everybody's on Facebook. That may not be one that you focus on, but maybe Facebook, Instagram, maybe LinkedIn, maybe just those three. Look at your profile if you have one. And if you don't, just create one. But what does it say about you? And if you've switched businesses, here's the thing that we forget. If you're a newer coach and you had a previous identity, make sure that previous identity is not the only thing in your profile. Because if somebody went to Faisal's profile and he's saying, hey, I'm a coach, and you go to his profile and all it does is talk about like, hey, I'm an engineer and, I'm this. But it says nothing about coaching. I'm going to be a little bit skeptical. Like Faisal said, what is this, a side hustle that you're not really all in on? So just make sure you've updated like the details of your profile so that you are a coach and who are, as much as you can. So do that. And then just put, 10, 20 different posts in so that they're the most recent things people see, whether they're pictures that have some sort of comment about life change or whatever it is, however it is that you're a coach, if you're a relationship coach or whatever. Just do like 20 posts, even if you post them all today, because those are going to be the ones that people see. If they quick look at your profile, they're going to see a whole bunch of things related to what you're doing. And that's the easiest thing you can do just to kind of baseline yourself as you kind of switch over into coaching. So just kind of wanted to give something super practical. I'm going to guess if you can just whip it out in 2 hours, I think you'll be good to go.
Yeah. And as a model, you can actually just go to either one of our profiles. Like you can go to Dr. Sherry's profile on Facebook or search for Faisal and so on, because like I had to do a lot of work to optimize the profile. And I didn't even realize my profile was actually private. I thought it was not until my business coach was like, you can't see any of the posts. And I couldn't, even if I showed the past ones, because I was sharing a lot of stuff on my profile from my page. I was using my business page as a primary thing, but it wasn't getting a lot of traction. They got me to use profile, so I had to optimize everything. And you can share a bunch of stuff in there. So just go take a look at my profile. You see the link to all my social media, the link to my website. You can put a bunch of links in there on Facebook. So as soon as people go in there, they'll see the posts and they will see the links. And if you don't have that, people don't know what to do. And most, like, for example, I do the outreach for coaches because we have coaching mastery community, and I go to coaches' website. I can't tell if they're a coach or not. I really can't. It takes me like, I have to really go down. There will be one post on personal development. I'm like, maybe this is a coach to some degree, but there's nothing there that says they're a coach. And it's a private, some of them have private profile, many of them have public, but all the posts are unrelated, let's say. And that's Facebook, but LinkedIn is more on the professional end. But even LinkedIn profile for most people are not optimized. Like Sherry said, it has other things. Like coaches are not the only one who do this. I work with real estate investors, and it's actually a very weird thing. It takes courage to change things. I'm like, and when I ask him, like, what do you need to do to move your business forward in the real estate investment? He's like, they will hesitantly say, is like, I don't have it on my LinkedIn profile that I'm an investor. And they're scared of it. I was like, well, why don't you have it? He's like, well, first of all, they need to clarify some things with their job, if they have a job, if they can even do that. So that's one step they need to take. And the next step is like, well, now I'm doing this new thing and I don't know how to, like, they're scared of their reputation and all sorts of other things. But as soon as they put their thing, then they can own it. They're like, okay, I'm an investor as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is, once you've made sure that your profile and your Facebook and wherever else, it's like you're posting things, you're optimizing it, you're posting things about coaching, you're all in, baby. Like, you're committing to it. You are saying, I am a coach, no matter if I have clients or not, no matter how much time, if I'm also earning an income from something else, you're still a coach. Own it, be excited about it, and share it with people. We jokingly say in Coaching Mastery community, don't be a covert coach. Don't be a coach in secret. Let everybody know. That's kind of the first step. And so, Faisal, as people are then posting things on social media and trying to build that presence, trying to build an expertise and a reputation as a coach, how do you think through, or how would you recommend our listeners to think through what to put, how much, should they do like whole sessions, like master classes, teaching stuff for free? Should it be paid? Like, how do we think through what to give and how to give it?
Yeah, and this is where getting focused and strategic matters a lot, because when I started out, like the mistake that I made, I was constantly thinking, okay, I need to post this, I need to put this, I need to put this out there. And the hope, like I said, was that somebody will reach out to me and book this client. And then we literally had a couple of clients in CMC. That was exactly their strategy. And I purposely asked them, like, so tell me a little bit about your strategy. What are you hoping will happen as you post these things on Instagram? And he's like, I haven't really quite thought about it, but I know what the thought process is. Like, but if I really think about it, my hope is that if I do a bunch of this stuff, somebody will click on my strategy session link and book that. And that might happen maybe once or twice. So as a reference, in the past 6 years, I think that's happened 4 times.
Okay.
For me, where somebody has gone to my link, and most of it has been more of an outreach. And this is the difference I want to make, is that the purpose of your post initially, as like Dr. Sherian talked, is for your credibility, for your trust that you're actually doing something. That's one purpose. But the other purpose is that it actually has a marketing purpose, in the sense that you're putting out posts and trainings intentionally to direct people to, let's say if you're only doing one-on-one coaching, to a sales conversation, to a discovery conversation. So I used to wait for people to like and comment on my post for me to reach out to people. But now my thinking has completely reversed. I actually reach out to people so people can engage with my posts.
Interesting. I haven't heard you say that before.
Yeah, so it's the complete opposite. Like, it sounds simple, but it took me about 5 years to think of it this way.
Yay! Now you're shortcutting the journey for all of us. Thank you.
I know. I didn't even think of it, but so thinking of Facebook. So what happens when you message somebody? Think of somebody messaging you on Facebook or anywhere. What are you going to do? You're going to go into their profile. What are you going to do? You're going to see their posts. So when I'm messaging people, regardless of what the context of the message is, the first instinct would be go to my profile. They're going to see what I'm doing. They might not watch all the videos or posts, but at least now they're engaging with my profile, which is actually, in a sense, hacking the algorithms, because Facebook won't just show it. So on average, Facebook will show a very tiny percentage of your posts, even to the people who follow you. So that's one thing. And so what I'm sharing here is that you don't have to post a lot. Let's say if you post 2 posts, if we're taking Facebook as a reference, 2 posts a day on Facebook, and you do that 5 or 6 days a week. These posts are there to establish credibility and trust and content. It shows that you have authority. It shows that you're doing stuff in that space. But most of the work is in the background, is that you're actually reaching out to people, regardless of whether they've engaged with you or not. And I'm assuming that you know who these people are that you want to reach out to. So you have an idea of your niche and avatar. So for example, for me, real estate investor. So when I'm doing an outreach, I'm not randomly reaching out to people. I'm actually going into people's profiles, seeing what they're doing, what they're up to, and then I will reach out to them and I'll build a relationship. So I'll reach out to them. Maybe I'll share one of my posts. It's like, hey, I did this training and I saw that you were interested in this thing. So it's very custom, and context matters a lot here. Even Gary Vee will talk about it. He's like, context is everything. Yeah. If you're just randomly sending people a bunch of like copy paste messages, I've done that too. It doesn't give you the thing. But if you go into somebody's profile and you see that let's say they care about cats, I want to reference that to some degree if that's what it is. Or they care about what's happening in the economy right now, and they have concerns around that. And I'll share a message. And ideally, I have a post or a video that says something like, hey, I saw that you're thinking about this thing. I did a video on this. Let me know what you think. Just that could be a message. I'm not asking them to join me on a strategy session because they don't even know me. Why would they want to join me? And I'm just building a relationship at that point. And then as that conversation leads, that slowly leads towards a strategy session. There's a framework around that, but the key thing is that you're actually doing an outreach. And this is sales. This is if that's not there.
You said the dirty word.
What's a beautiful word? I used to think of it as a dirty word too.
I know. It's hard. And if you're listening to this, you still might feel that little like icky feeling in the pit of your stomach when you think of sales. Or maybe you've turned from that caterpillar into the butterfly and now you're like, I love sales. But it's a frame of mind, and it is an absolute necessity to being an entrepreneur, to having your own business. But it's really not a dirty word. I'm just teasing.
So let me give a good analogy. It's like if not having a negative relationship or not liking sales and money and business is equivalent to not liking water and you want to be a swimmer. Right. You're gonna have a very, very hard time with that, because money and sales is the center point of business. That's the lifeblood. It doesn't work without it.
You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast.